I was reading Dostoevsky's The Double, which is about a guy who wakes up and his double's there starting to replace his life, and was thinking about how to do something with it. And I went to see Swan Lake at the ballet, and didn't know that one dancer played two roles, a white swan and a black swan. And it was sort of an aha moment.
Black Swan is one of those movies that bridges the gap between reality and illusion. You don't always know what is real and what is the product of someone's deranged mind. It's a film about duality, both allegorically through Swan Lake and literally through Nina's breakdown and conflict with Lily. So you have Nina, the epitome of innocence and naivete, and is perfect for the white swan. And Lily, who embodies passion, living in the moment, and is the ideal black swan, wings and all. The problem is, black and white need to become one, and that's where the story truly begins. I'm focusing mainly on the cinematic and visual techniques involved in telling the story, so I won't be getting into the story or what's real or what's not for the most part, unless there's camera work involved. The most obvious, unmissable motif is mirrors and reflections. Later on in the movie, Nina sees her reflection out of sync as if she is becoming detached from herself, but that's just the most obvious example. Mirrors are a constant throughout, from nearly the first scene, and almost every time they show up, there are creepy or sinister tones to them, whether it's Nina's mother sweeping by like something that belongs in the shadows, or a constant second presence that seems to stalk Nina as she loses her grip on reality. Her mirror image seems to reflect her mental state. You can see it in the beginning when she's warming up in her house. She's peaceful and relaxed, in sync with herself. Obviously, when she begins to lose touch, her reflection is out of sync. Tomas sets the theme up in the scene where he explains the plot.
A new production needs a new Swan Queen. A fresh face to present to the world. But which of you can embody both swans? The white and the black.
Nina cannot play her part properly without going down a dark road, and to an extent she uses Lily to do that. She then becomes paranoid that Lily is trying to steal her part. However, the true problem is herself. She constantly sees illusions of herself, often trying to harm her in some way. The black swan in her is trying to take over, increasingly successfully so. As I said earlier, it becomes a near constant presence that follows her in the mirrors that seem to be everywhere. The longer in you get, the more mirrors there are, with increasingly more elaborate setups. It's no coincidence that at the end, Nina shoves her imaginary version of Lily, who speaks to Nina through a mirror, into one, scattering shards everywhere and resulting in the symbolic death of the black swan, and the rebirth of Nina into someone who may be somewhat well-adjusted. It depends on how much of the movie was in her head, I suppose, but I'm not going to get into that right now. Aside from mirrors, there are a few times when the camera takes a position directly behind or in front of her head, indicating confidence and ambition, or curiosity and naivete respectively. Ironically, the times you would expect her to act these ways do not correspond to the white swan, black swan characters. Her confidence is shown at the very beginning when she is still just one of many dancers, and later when she goes to confront Lily about what she said to Tomas when she found Nina crying after hours. Her naivete comes when she gets the part, and it is revealed to the public at the party. Later this camera technique is used again, alternating back and forth when she first learns she gets the part, a mixture of hope and confusion. The same camera technique is used as she alternates between anger and confusion about what happened after the night that they went to the bar together. There's a rule of cinematography called the 180-degree rule. It's pretty simple. You can cut the camera across the scene as long as it doesn't cross this invisible wall that would make the characters switch positions. This rule exists so dumb people don't think the characters are teleporting around the room. I'm not exactly joking. You might have heard the probably exaggerated story about very early audiences thinking a train wouldn't stop at the screen. and directors used to have to show the wheel of a car moving to show that they had been driving and the time had passed. Anyway, the infamous lesbian scene breaks this rule hard. Let's do a running count. 1, 2, 3. They stay here for a while. And 4. 5. 6. 7. 8, 9, 10. And it's around here where you kind of lose count for one reason or another. That's a lot of breaking of a 101 level rule in one scene. See how hard it is to keep track of them? And this is done deliberately because Nina is by herself in this scene and it's all in her head. Aronofsky is using the confusion that this rule prevents in order to drive the narrative. Brilliant. A special mention for this scene, the focus is all on Tomasa and Nina as he tries to draw out her seductive qualities until Lily bursts into the room and Nina falls. It's practically a Tyler Durden moment. It's amazing how many mirrors were in this movie without having cameras in them, especially when you look at some of the trick shots, multiple mirror setups, and mirror hallways. Obviously there must have been some CGI involved at points, but I think a lot of it was just getting good angles, which is impressive. I think I managed to get all of my favorite cinematic tricks into this video. If I missed one, or you have a favorite, go ahead and leave a mention in the comments. And, of course, if you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe. The playlist on the right of the screen is the place for videos like this one, so you might be interested in them. Take a look, and I'll see you around.